Welcome. Today, we dive into the fascinating world of Andrei Voznesensky, a prominent Russian poet whose work stood out for its remarkable diversity, both in poetic meter and vocabulary. Voznesensky's poetry, especially from the 1950s to the 1980s, not only captured the spirit of his era, but also pushed the boundaries of poetic form and language. In this video, we'll explore how his poetic style evolved over time, using formal metrics and statistical analysis to uncover the depth and richness of his verse. Let's begin our journey by understanding the context and significance of Voznesensky's contribution to Russian literature. The 1960s marked a turning point in Russian poetry. Voznesensky, along with his contemporaries, became a symbol of innovation and resistance against the constraints of official, censored literature. Their poetry was bold, experimental, and often challenged traditional forms. Voznesensky's early works, in particular, were celebrated for their freshness and originality. This period was characterized by a drive to renew poetic language and structure, making poetry more relevant to the changing Soviet society. As we move forward, keep in mind how this cultural backdrop influenced Voznesensky's creative choices. Truly understand Voznesensky's uniqueness, researchers used quantitative methods to analyze his poetry. Two main aspects were measured: metric diversity, the variety of poetic meters, and lexical diversity, the range of vocabulary. The Shannon diversity index, borrowed from biology, was applied to assess the richness and balance of meters in his poems. For vocabulary, metrics like TTR type token ratio and CTTR corrected TTR were used. These tools allowed scholars to objectively compare Voznesensky's work with that of other major poets, revealing just how distinctive his style was. Voznesensky's early period, spanning from the early 1950s to the early 1970s, is especially notable for its creative energy. During these years, he wrote over 340 poems, experimenting with an impressive array of 247 different poetic meters. The Shannon index for this period reached 5.901, the highest among his peers. This diversity wasn't just about numbers, it reflected a restless search for new forms and expression. His vocabulary was also rich, with a TTR of 0.27 and a CTTR of 40.316, indicating a broad and varied lexicon. How did Voznesensky compare to other major Russian poets? The analysis showed that his metric diversity outpaced even renowned figures like Mayakovsky, Pasternak, and Yevtu. For example, Mayakovsky's index was 5.785, while Pasternak was 4.847. Even in terms of vocabulary, Voznesensky's CTTR was among the highest. Interestingly, Yesenin displayed high metric diversity but a narrower vocabulary, highlighting that these two aspects don't always go hand in hand. This comparison underscores Voznesensky's exceptional place in Russian poetry. Lexical diversity, or the richness of vocabulary, was another hallmark of Voznesensky's poetry. Over the years, his CTTR values fluctuated, reflecting changes in his thematic focus and poetic strategy. While early years showed high diversity, some periods saw a dip, possibly due to repeated themes or stylistic choices. However, even as his vocabulary evolved, he continued to introduce new words and concepts, keeping his poetry fresh and engaging. This ongoing renewal of language is a testament to his creative vitality. In the later period, from the mid-1970s to the mid-1980s, Voznesensky's poetry underwent noticeable changes. The metric diversity index dropped to 5.217, still high but lower than before. Lexical diversity also shifted. TTR increased to 0.322, but CTTR decreased to 30.939. This suggests that while he used more unique words relative to total word count, the overall variety was somewhat reduced. Importantly, his poetic vocabulary changed significantly, with less than a quarter of the words overlapping with his earlier period, indicating a move towards new themes and expressions. What do these numbers really tell us? Voznesensky's early poetry was marked by experimentation and a quest for novelty, both in form and language. As time went on, he seemed to settle into certain patterns, but he never stopped exploring new ideas. The low Jaccard coefficient between early and late vocabularies, just 0.222, shows that he consistently refreshed his poetic lexicon. This balance between continuity and change is what made his work so dynamic and influential. In conclusion, Andrei Voznesensky's poetry stands as a testament to the power of innovation in literature. His ability to blend metric and lexical diversity set him apart from his peers and ensured his lasting impact on Russian poetry. By applying scientific methods to literary analysis, researchers have illuminated the depth and complexity of his work. Voznesensky'S legacy reminds us that true artistry lies in the courage to experiment, adapt, and continually seek new forms of expression. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of poetic diversity.